Well, Club Rugby's oldest rivalry is complete for another year. The 1872 Cup is done after the final whistle has gone between Edinburgh and Glasgow at Murrayfield in front of a record attendance for one of these fixtures. Great occasion. A great occasion. We can talk about the game, and that's what I want to get into right now. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and your thoughts down below on the 1872 Cup, which has been won and lifted by Glasgow, but it'll feel like a slightly empty trophy lift because they didn't get the result that they went to Murrayfield to get, and a big win for Edinburgh, bearing in mind the challenges they've been having in the URC this season. A huge 4 points for them in what was a tense, tight, but not as entertaining a game as many people going to Murrayfield would have liked. But there you go. Congratulations to Edinburgh on the win. I mean, I would have loved to have been there. I should have been there. I spent Christmas in Edinburgh, and my goodness me, what an absolutely stunning city that is. Just, yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous spending it in Christmas in Edinburgh with the family. Absolutely loved it. We unfortunately had to come home sooner than I would have liked. And there we go. Couldn't be at Murrayfield today, but I watched the game. And here are some takeaways immediately following the match. Firstly, fair play on the occasion. 40,063 people, I think it was, that attended, which is the most that have ever watched this game, meaning that I think it's around about 70,000 people, the combined attendance for the two games, the one at Hampden Park in Glasgow and the one at Murrayfield this week, which is no mean feat and should be celebrated. I mean, well, the combined population of Glasgow and Edinburgh is around about 1 million, maybe a shade more. So it's basically like 1 in every 15 people in those cities went to one of these games. And that's pretty remarkable for, you know, much like England, a football mad country, and we've had big rivalries in the football in Scotland between Hearts and Hibs in Edinburgh and Rangers and Celtic in Glasgow. And rugby was taking centre stage for this one, which is why I would have liked a slightly more engaging rugby match. I mean, it had tension, and the final moments sort of came to life, but it was low on quality and poor execution, particularly on the attacking side from Edinburgh. But this is, as I mentioned, the oldest club rugby rivalry in the sport. 152 years these teams have been duking it out, and yeah, again, there should be congratulations to both teams for just the occasion that they've managed to create and the number of people that they've managed to get interested in the game. I mean, what would the takeaways from the game be? Well, I've already said low on quality at times, lots of errors, poor execution. I don't know whether both teams had their Christmas shindig last night. One too many ports and brandies, with the cheese perhaps. But the defences were really good. That is the glass half full. The glass of port half full is that the defences were really, really good. Edinburgh's massively improved in the space of a week. A lot of commitment, a lot of grit, a lot of doggedness, and there's been people getting on Edinburgh's back. That's actually a performance they can use as a launch pad for the second half of their season, and I'm sure that will be the messages. And they've set the bar in terms of attitude for this match, as I'll get onto. Glasgow, their attack, I mean, their defence was really, really good again, and the speed off the line and the ability for Glasgow just to reload in defence, get back on their feet, fill the field. They are so good at that, and that is fitness, that is organisation, that is cohesion, that is attitude. Unfortunately, on the attacking side of the game, and partly you need to credit Edinburgh for their defence for this, Glasgow just couldn't get the fluency, cohesion with their attack. I do think, and I'd love to know what you think about this. I do wonder with Glasgow, do they need a slightly better kicking game? And that's not to say I love the way Glasgow play and the way they won the URC, you know, playing really amazing attacking rugby, beating the Stormers, beating Munster, and then beating the Bulls in Pretoria. An incredible run to the title last year, playing some absolutely beautiful rugby, as Scotland do as well. But there are occasions and there are games where that doesn't quite click, and on those occasions you need a bit of a plan B, and I'm not sure Glasgow have got a good enough kicking game, or at least they didn't go to it. And that leads me on to another question. I'll be interested to know what you think about that. The other question is on Glasgow. Should they take the points? I mentioned this on the review of the Munster-Leinster game last night. When points are on offer and you're in tight matches, should you take the points? And Glasgow turned down a lot of potential 3-point options to go for the corner, many of them didn't come off. I love the confidence, but that's just a question. And as I said on the video yesterday, talking about Munster-Leinster, I'll say it again now, hindsight is always 20/20, isn't it? Lots of goal line stands in the defence from both teams. Referee, I don't want to get on the back of officials because I actually thought it was good for the most part. Breakdowns were a bit of a mess, and I wonder if that's why neither of the attacks managed to click. You didn't see Duhan van der Merwe and Darcy Graham and Carl Steyn and Carl Rowe and Sione Tuipulotu, huge. You didn't see these guys have the ball nearly as much as you wanted to in space, and the fact the breakdown was a bit of a mess. Sometimes everything would be let to go, and sometimes it was quite whistle happy. So I couldn't quite get a feel for what was going on there. But I guess the players have to take responsibility for that as well. And all the stuff said about Glasgow not taking points, needing a different kicking game. To be honest, I thought they'd won the match with the penalty try with, just over 10 minutes to play. I thought the game was done. But Glasgow messed up their restart. And from there invited pressure, and Edinburgh hit back and got what turned out to be decisive score. So I guess you take care of your own business, you take care of your restarts, which they call the fourth set piece or third set piece. Yeah, then Glasgow win that game. I don't think it was complacency from Glasgow's point of view. I think there was a lot of grit from Edinburgh, which is sort of the big positive I would take from the game for them. Early stages, as for the game itself, and again, tell me what you think in the comments down below. It was all Glasgow, opening 5 minutes. I mean, you had the oldest club rivalry in the game. You've got international teammates becoming club rivals, matchups all over the park, and one that I was really looking forward to seeing was Kyle Steyn opposite Darcy Graham. The two of them, you'd think, battling it out for a starting Scotland jersey in the Six Nations, and in 4 minutes on the clock, and Kyle Steyn runs over Darcy Graham, and you thought, right, yeah, this is going to be good. Statement made. There we go. There wasn't enough of those kind of moments. Edinburgh turned over the ball on their own line. Big defensive effort. 15 minutes gone, therefore it was still 0-0 to Glasgow. And Glasgow had an opportunity at that moment to maul it over. They didn't manage to. It was collapsed, or it went down. Glasgow didn't manage to get the try. And then Gilchrist coughs up a soft penalty for offside. So attacking, trying to get the maul try, led to penalty. Edinburgh clearing their lines. Then Thompson with a really, really good 50-22. And it was from that attack, moments earlier, Glasgow had been on Edinburgh's line. And it was Edinburgh that were scoring the penalty kick to go 3-0 ahead. They missed a second penalty attempt, and there was a massive moment just before half-time. Glasgow camped on Edinburgh's line again. They spent quite a lot of time there during the match. Repeated penalties, getting another go at crack of the whip. Luke Crosby reaching, just had to place the ball down. He drops it over the line, or at least that's what I immediately thought. But on the replay, you can see that Gregor Hiddleston managed to work to get to Luke Crosby and hit his arm, dislodging the ball, forcing the knock-on. And that was a perfect example of the kind of attitude that was there for Edinburgh on this occasion that maybe was lacking a week ago. There was a real hunger to get the job done on a big stage in front of their home crowd and try and get their season going. And that meant it was 3-0 half-time. And you don't get many 3-0 matches these days. You sort of see a scoreline like that and you think the weather's going to be terrible. The conditions were decent. The second half, the DJ was working overtime, trying to create some atmosphere in the crowd. He was playing all sorts of tunes. He had a bit of Belinda Carlisle going on. You had some 90s cheese. Hugh Jones, though, offloaded the ball forward into touch. I mean, the kind of skill error that you don't associate with some of these Glasgow players who have been so good for a while now and just was not there today. But 51 minutes on the clock, Glasgow's defence again managing to keep Edinburgh out. And as I mentioned, getting back to their feet, they are very impressive at that. 54 minutes, we get a glimpse at Glasgow's attack. Sione Tuipulotu getting the ball flat to the outside to Carl Rowe, who then kicks away possession when he had passing options inside. And again, the execution of Glasgow just was not there today. Edinburgh had to turn to their goal line defence again. Glasgow opted to go for the penalty for the corner. They were held up, but a penalty advantage, got a second chance and a third chance, and then eventually a penalty try. And yeah, I mean, it was Harrison that got the yellow card. You look at the replay and it looked to me like Harrison was the only player not collapsing the maul. But anyway, a yellow card and a penalty try it was. And it looked like game was won. DJ was playing a bit of 90s techno to try and achieve the crowd up. And an immediate response from Edinburgh. Schoeman getting the try. Buses and tries in this match. You wait for ages and then two come along at once. And it was Schoeman. He's just signed a new contract with Edinburgh this week. He got a grubber kick through. Managed to get on the end of the try. Looked like he was turtled on his back, but managed to have the strength to flip over and score. Massive moment for him. Healy converts and it's 10-7. But Glasgow still have time and still have opportunities. They get another penalty. And again, at this point, you think you wouldn't begrudge Glasgow for going, do you know what? We'll take the 2 points. It's been an ugly day. We'll have 2 points. They went for the full 4, went for the corner again. Maul, Sione Tuipulotu crashes over. Edinburgh, though, survive. And then the game finishes with a comical knock-on. Glasgow, again, skill execution. That is way below the level that Franco Smith has cultivated in the URC champions. And as a result, a URC defeat, which is going to change the picture at the top of the table and could be a turning point for Edinburgh's season. Glasgow will be better than that. They'll need to be better than that. They had an off day and Edinburgh showed a lot of grit and a lot of determination. I wish I was still there in Edinburgh. I've heard the pies are very good. And just such a beautiful city as well. Unfortunately, not there. I'm here. I will be with you in the comments though, so get stuck in. Lots more rugby to talk about. I was flicking back and forth between this game and the Stormers v Sharks. I've got that recorded. I'm going to go and watch that. I'll have a review of that game in a bit. And then Harlequins against Leicester, the big game from Twickenham as well, will round off the rugby videos from me today. Or actually, maybe Connacht Ulster as well. Lots to talk about, lots to discuss. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one.